Hello. Welcome, everyone, or who's finding this. I guess right now, everybody would be finding it right now. This is a Tarot Lady in a Church collective reading. I'm going to do something. I'm not sure. I'm just feeling kind of like I've got a message and I just want to share it. And pull some cards. What can I say about right now? I think this is more of a timeless message. It feels to me like something that's going to come, like it's almost like a resonating energy that I'm feeling. It would be like there would be an expression of it here in a small scale, and then there would be an expression of it a few days later in a large scale, and then down the road in kind of varying sizes. Like there could be a smaller one down the road, but that's a little bit bigger than this one. It's all just a kind of like ratios or something, all spinning together. I'm feeling this kind of energy passing through right now. So it might be something that is immediately happening right now as I'm recording this. And it's kind of like, it feels more cemented into the fortune that we'll experience down the road. So I guess I'll just get started. I'll shuffle the cards a little bit and let you know that if you're just kind of coming in here and you've never been here before, I normally stream on Twitch, which is a great way to do readings, I think, because it's kind of like immediate and it's about what's happening right now. It's the energy that I'm drawing is for the current moment. And this reading, I've done a few videos on YouTube now, and I'll say the same thing. Every time I press record to do a video that's intended for YouTube, I end up feeling like there's just this massiveness to the energy because it's, I don't know how many views this video is ever going to get, but it just feels like it's more than I'm used to reading for. I usually read for around like 10, 15 people at a time. So it's kind of, this feels like a lot bigger. And of course, with the message being so kind of more cementy, I think there's something here that is worth sharing anyway. So if you're here and you're watching this, I do feel like it's a message for you, especially for this reading, because it just really feels something like something of a pattern. Rather than it being an event, it's a pattern. First card is Three of Pentacles. I'm just going to take a look at the card and kind of see if I can hear it. For some strange reason, I'm getting this feeling of imitating. And pardon the sound in the background, the cats are into a little piece of plastic. It's this tiny little piece of plastic that they're obsessed with right now. I can't take it away from them. It's garbage, but they really like it, so I'm letting them have it. So you'll hear a little bit of that maybe in the background. Imitating. I'm seeing energy of like imitation, like somebody's modeling themselves, or there's a group of people who are modeling themselves after some kind of an ideal. I'm seeing like Halloween costumes, which kind of makes sense given the time that I'm recording this. But again, it's kind of like from the outside, it appears that humorous. It appears as humorous as a Halloween costume. But I think from their perspective, there's like this energy that kind of feels like, or it feels like it's being genuine, like, or that it's projecting something genuine. And from the outside, or from over, like from the collective point of view here, it's like we're very obvious that they're just copying something or imitating something. I feel like this is somebody or a group of people that is known to you. Us. It's the collective, but we'll see what we get. I'm curious. I want to know, who are these people? Eight of Swords. Right over top. Who are these people? Just as I say, it's people that are known to you or known to us. I'm getting an Eight of Swords as if it's people that we can't see. That's really interesting. Now, this card is okay. It's pretty true to like the traditional imagery of an Eight of Swords. But I feel like there's something extra about this heart that's kind of poking out from the center of the chest. It's kind of like we might not be able to, I don't know if it's like physically see them. I don't think that's what it is. I just started itching my left eye. I don't know why. There's something to do with my left eye. Whatever it is, it's something that's really felt more than it's seen is really it. So this is kind of a bit of a correction. Like I'm saying, like from the outside, it's clear to see that this energy, this person or this group of people is like imitating. And rather than it being like I can see the costume that you're wearing, like physically, it's more something that's felt with the heart. A little bit more intuitive, emotionally. It doesn't feel genuine. It feels like somebody's faking it. Oh. Okay, so I said it felt like a pattern, and that's really interesting because as I was shuffling the cards, it just kind of like, I felt like I was locking into the pattern. And I really do feel like this card here is like the expression of the pattern. Six of Swords is this energy of kind of leaving in the middle of the night or kind of moving from one place to another. There's this traveling kind of energy. It's almost like a piece of land here. So it's really interesting, like, but it's on these, like, see, it's on a stage, like the theater curtains. I feel like it's really like that. It's somebody who's being super dramatic about an exit strategy or something. There's like a drama that's being played out as someone's leaving. This is kind of like the energy of somebody who says something like snooty and then walks out and slams the door behind them, kind of thing. And it's kind of like that might be the drama of the situation, but the heart knows that it's not actually that way, that they're just kind of imitating something. So we might be referring to a child, although it feels like very adult energy. I don't think it feels like I'm disturbed a bit by this. When I see this Three of Pentacles, I'm kind of disturbed by it. So to me, it's like I would expect that of a child. I would expect a child to kind of like walk out a door, walk away and slam the door behind them. Like that's just kind of like if it's a teenager or something, it's just like, yeah, well, you know, they've got a lot of emotions going on. But this is like an adult doing this kind of thing. Now I'm keep giving that example of walking and slamming a door. So that might be literal for some people, I think. I'm also sensing that it's a bit kind of more like an illustration. Let me see if I can see what another example of that energy is. I think that, yeah. A lot more gentle, this one. A lot more gentle. It's being played out in the form of a commitment. Like, oh, I can't come to the party. I've got a, I've got to work, or I really can't go because I don't know. There's some excuse, like an excuse to like about commitments, like kind of playing up a commitment that somebody has. Like I don't mean to say party it necessarily. It's kind of like somebody who backs away from making commitments or uses commitments as a way to remove themselves from having to say the word no, kind of thing. Like in your heart, maybe you might know somebody just it's not, they don't want to. And rather than do that, they kind of like, oh, I really want to, but I can't. Yeah, I've got this commitment and I really want to, but I can't. That's a really interesting energy because of whatever, some kind of it. So it's a little bit more gentle than like slamming the door, but it's basically, that's the same energy. It's the same kind of like we can feel it. We can feel that it's dramatic, that it's over the top. I mean, in that case, if you want to do something, then do it. And if you don't want to do something, then don't do it. But, that's easy to say that just in this reading, not knowing any of the stories. So I won't put any judgment on any of it. Just more, we can still kind of like feel that it's not genuine or that it's kind of like a dramatic display. We can still feel that, but also know that they have every right or something to behave the way they want to behave, or they might have great reasons, could well be the case. But this is for the case of when you feel like it's not genuine. It's something about tapping into your intuition. Emotional intuition is a very special kind. It's one where you feel a certain way about something. And sometimes the feeling that you have about something doesn't match just because you have this memory bank your whole life of feeling certain ways when certain things happen and they're patterns. That's what it is. So when the pattern doesn't match, when it breaks the pattern, when somebody walks away and slams the door behind them, it's to break the pattern. That's kind of like the point of the drama. It's to break the pattern. I'll do anything to break this pattern of discussion that we're having right now. As I say that, I've got little Colin over here who's trying to get past the incense barrier. I think he's going to have to figure out another way. But if he does, that means he's going to go that way. I better cover up the mixing board. Okay. So somebody wants to break the pattern, and they're willing to do that by any means necessary almost, or by like more dramatic means. It's like a shock. I'm going to shock you into doing something different or turning my experience into something different. I don't know if this is a controlling energy. It's more of somebody who wants their experience to be different. Like this person who's saying no to going to the party, and they like kind of maybe fib a little bit about commitments. It might be like they don't want to say no to you for some reason. So they just kind of like, I don't know. They don't want to say no, and they don't want to be in that dynamic to say no. So then they resort to something a bit more dramatic to kind of like divert the attention away, is what it is. So you might be experiencing this. It feels quite current or like recent past kind of thing. But again, this is a repeating pattern, I think, with a particular person or group of people. Although the more I investigate, it seems like it's a single person. I said that, single person? But let's not get rid of the idea that it might be a group. There, I knew he was going to. Colin, you're a very predictable little man. Here he is. Oh, he's not on camera. He just he's leaving. He just kind of walked by here right outside of frame and then left. He was just trying to let me know that he's here and he can interrupt anytime he wants. Okay, well, I've got Two of Cups there when I'm asking about kind of like how the pattern moves forward. Two of Cups is, of course, speaking of relationship. But this card is very, very unique. Very unique. It's really talking about a relationship where somebody feels tied down. There's somebody who's maybe very earth energy, has roots planted where they are, and somebody else who has devil horns, which is kind of funny. Somebody else with devil horns, which actually is like they're tied down. They're kind of getting tied down by these roots. Now, this looks like a pleasant experience in this moment, but I wonder if I'm asking about this person who resorts to these dramatic tactics to get out of something when they're feeling uncomfortable. To me, it makes sense that there would be a discomfort. I've gone and made the camera isn't focused. Let me see if I can. There it goes. Dramatic tactics to kind of get out of doing something that like maybe just makes them feel a bit uncomfortable. I just wondered, this looks comfortable right now, but I just see tied down. That's the first thing I saw, is tied down, the foot. That they would be attracted to earth energy, but in a way a lot more, there's this expression of fear on this person's face. And I've gone and done it again. Wonder if I do this, there it goes. Perfect. But I prefer the lighting like this for my own eyes. Okay. I'm just going to ask about what is it that they're afraid of, and there's a fear. That makes sense here. Somebody who's afraid of saying no. There's somebody who's afraid of saying no. Yes, man. Earth energy, Three of Pentacles. I wonder if that has something to do with work. Well, this speaks to the pattern, Five of Cups. The pattern being that there's like this memory of a person right here. So if we go in the direction of a relationship, like it could be a friendship, and whatever kind of relationship, it's basically somebody who has a memory of good times. I really like this because it's somebody who's actually focusing on remembering the good times, and they're, normally Five of Cups, the person is focused on the bad times. But this one, they're focused on the good times, but they also have the bad times within their view. And they're focusing on the good times to keep somebody kind of preserved in the background. So this is coming across as collective energy. I can't help to think that this preservation energy looks a lot like what is happening around this person's head. It's kind of like preserving the good times with this person here who's being dramatic because they're afraid of saying no. I'm just going to go with that story. But it's more the energy of that story. That preservation is what keeps somebody from seeing something. Like, there's a lack of clarity in Eight of Swords. It's felt, and there's a lack of clarity at the same time. Like, this would be the energy of like doubt, like self-induced doubt. I don't want to decide that this person is being overly dramatic. I don't want to decide that this person is being just imitating what they think they should do instead of being genuinely themselves. I don't want to think that, but I still feel in my heart that that's what's going on. So I really do see this energy here as being, there's a good intention here. And it's almost like suspending intention a little bit. If anything, any intention that's going into, oh my goodness, what's happening with these cats? Colin was trying to jump up into the window. He's on the prowl tonight. He's on the move. The intentions, it's like inducing doubt to preserve good intentions, or to preserve the good times, to preserve that energy, not wanting to label what's going on over here, determine for what reason I'm about to explore. This Hierophant here, I thought those were ears, like elf ears, but it's actually just a couple of more faces. It's somebody who's got different faces. I'm going to do this every time I put a card up close, aren't I? Yeah. Okay. I think I'm supposed to be able to get some software functions for this camera, but put that on my list of things to look into. So if anybody, I just realized I've been saying Colin this whole time. Colin is the cat. I've got two cats, and Colin and Dirk, and they're here at the church, and we all hang out here, the three of us together, and they just basically, they might interrupt the reading, just so you know. They do that sometimes. Although Dirk, he's Colin's off in the distance. He's just staring at me from down the hall. From it, and he's looking. I don't. If you've ever met Colin before, he is like, he's intense. He's a very intense cat. Okay, I just kind of feel like that was something that was very well planned. That was kind of like, there's something about distracting oneself with the good time thoughts to maintain good spirits, because here I am, and I just got distracted by the cats, and then I just started talking about them, and Colin's still staring at me from a distance. It's really funny. But it's something about, that's what kind of keeps our spirits high, and what keeps our spirits high also prevents us from seeing maybe some truth in a situation, or determining a truth, making a judgment. But I said that, right? Who am I to judge? So I'm right in that energy. I don't want to judge this person or group of people. I don't know. I still wanted to kind of go back to our group of people, so there might be a group here too. This preservation, I'm like, what are they preserving? This person in the Five of Cups. So collective energy, I think, is trying to preserve. King of Swords is like nobility, like wisdom. The Queen really makes all the decisions, right? The Queen of Swords. But the King of Swords is there as like basically more of a commander, I guess is the word. The commander is somebody who basically just commands certain behavior out of people because of who they are as a person. And it's like, you just know by looking at a King of Swords that how you need to behave around them. They don't have to explain it to you, and they don't have to tell you that you've crossed the line, because nobody really crosses the line with a King of Swords. They know how to present themselves in such a way that invites the type of energy that they are expecting to find, kind of thing. It's to preserve that image of this person as being noble. I want to almost say integrity. Integrity is something a little bit more of Wands. It's maybe a word that I would put with a King of Wands, but it keeps coming up, and I keep kind of pushing it away. And I think that that's really what it is integrity. So, you know, if this was like a page or something, or, you know, like just, you know, if it was just like wanting to have happy thoughts about somebody, it just to distract ourselves so that we ourselves are happy. But this seems a lot more serious. Like it might be like not seeing the truth of the matter over here is it's actually serving to preserve someone's integrity, like, or our view of somebody else's integrity. If we were to see behind the curtain here, if the lights were to go on during this show and we were to see what all the inner workings of what was happening, and that it was indeed a stage play, we might not think the same things about this person after that. I feel like this is somebody who's got a secret, or it would maybe even be like, it's almost like, I don't think we know for sure. Like the energy here is afraid of, like there's this fear kind of going back and forth here. And especially like in this Two of Cups, like it's kind of like a fearful energy. With the Eight of Swords as well. Because sometimes we talk about Eight of Swords as like self-imposed. Like we put ourselves in this position on purpose or by purpose, for a purpose. We don't want to see. I don't want to see certain things because I just don't want to think bad things about this person. And that's that. So I feel like there's something to see here. I just want to look into this a little bit more before well, there we go. Here we go. Creatrix. This is the Magician card in this deck. The Creatrix. This deck, by the way. Here it is. Dreamkeeper's Tarot. Well, if anybody watches this like shortly after I upload it, you'll understand it, and you're part of watching the stream. You'll understand why I'm laughing right now, because we've had this big message coming through in the live streams about manifesting. So, I mean, that's basically what the Magician card is for. It's for the concept of manifesting. It's for drawing from all of our sources and feeding into a bigger source, and just kind of like becoming one. And this really, the Creatrix card is really talking about becoming one. And you see they're making a bit of a triangle, like this kind of shape. There's something, we were talking about the energy of threes and all that stuff. This doesn't feel like a 3 reading at all. Even though it is like a pattern energy, it would be kind of more like this pattern in behind here. This is more of a 2 pattern. I go here, and then I go here, and then I go here, and then I go here. And it's being stuck in a loop almost. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And it's like wanting to preserve thoughts, good thoughts about somebody, is wanting to manifest the goodness in someone else. I really, this energy here, just like the idea of wanting to preserve, not wanting to see the bad things, because there's a not wanting to taint what we're manifesting. It's, I said it's a self-doubting energy. Like there's maybe a bit of like doubt of our ability to see the good in somebody once we've seen the bad. That's really interesting, because it is very like devil type energy, this Two of Cups. Attachment, maybe, but this is voluntary, you know. at this point, this person can get out if they want to. And it looks like maybe in some cases they have. I do sense that there's some form of secret over here. And I want to honor the collective, though, of anybody who doesn't want to know what this secret is. And so maybe what I'll do is I'll try my best to remember that we're going to look into the secret. And what I can do is I can kind of put that at the end of the reading. And anybody who wants to just kind of, I don't want to know what it is. If you're resonating with this and you're really agreeing with the idea that it doesn't really matter what it is, then you can kind of like, I'll let you know when it's time to just kind of, if you're happy with that, then I respect that very much. And for anybody who wants to know, let's take a look. I don't know. That kind of seems like I was going to say no after that. But maybe I feel like there is somebody who would. I feel like there's somebody here who would say, no, I'd rather just not know. I'd rather just not know. For those people, I think there's a certain kind of comfort in the pattern. And it's like the pattern is triggered by that feeling of something's off. And that triggers them to go into a place where they just remember the good times. And they've built that in. Like, yeah, I'm feeling like something's off. And that's that cue again. Oh, yeah, that's that. Remember, I've had this before, this feeling before. Like something's off. Okay, I'm just going to go back over to thinking good things about somebody. And I'm going to leave it at that. And that seems to work out for some people. Others, I don't think it does. Because I've got this, 9 of Swords feeling. This is very much what it is. It's like being in, it's clawing at the walls. Like, it's like the 8 of Swords advanced. 8 of Swords, it's like, it was only supposed to be temporary. And now it's like, how do I get out of here? How do I get out? And it's almost like, at 8, we still could have gotten out. But at 9, now it's kind of fully trapped. Feeling trapped. In like a cave. The head's exploded here. Like. Just trying to read these words. Acid. With. I'd have to get my glasses and also put better light. I can't really see the words on there, but. This shape, it being so misshapen, the tear, like, it's like almost like there's a tear, there's a hole. It looks to me like something burst. Like, there's a cityscape in behind there. And it's like there's this, the veil, right? The veil, this like veil of like, or membrane almost. It feels like a skin or like a membrane of some sort. And not wanting to see something willfully because we want to just have good thoughts. And that's how we manifest good things to come into our life. That eventually it turns into denial. Eventually, I mean, it's like there's a burst in the membrane, like there's something wrong and we don't want to see it. So we put up these swords and these thoughts, these kind of like, okay, well, I'm sure they'll tell me what it is when they're ready, or this next thought is, I'm too busy right now anyway to get into it, and it's their deal. This next one, like all of these kind of excuses. And it's really interesting that in response to somebody giving us those excuses, that we would proceed to make those excuses for ourselves. That we're kind of mirroring that energy. Not wanting to feeling uncomfortable to see, to find out what it is, and also at a certain point not being able to get out of that, it becoming a form of denial. And I wonder if that's mirrored on the other side as well. And I wonder if that's what the whole point is, that there's denial on both sides of something. Well, this is getting really heavy. Can we lighten the... Well, no, it's okay. I don't know. Maybe I'll have a reading one day where it's like, I think you're going to be walking down the street and somebody's going to walk by and offer you an ice cream cone. You know what, take all the things I say here, a lot of messages that I give are like kind of channels, and when I'm in this energy here, collective, and there's so many people or so many stories, it gets kind of impossible to discern between channel or like what the channel is from a particular person and the future, or like a resonance in the planets. My apologies to certain people who would not like this card at all. my apologies. 5 of Swords. This card is mean. This is like a mixture between, this is tentacles coming out of this person. It's like gross. Gross, like just like gross. I'm saying that like, ugh. Like it's like, I mean, how would you react? I don't know if we can ever really think of how we would react if somebody walked in the room and they had tentacles. I don't know. Like if we can talk like that, but it's like if we saw a movie where there was the bad person or the bad person, the villain. There's like this villainous kind of ew. Like it does something to hit us in that place where we like cringe a little bit. Oh my goodness. I'm seeing this like, so this is like the other energy. Now, this isn't how they appear to the collective. This is how they believe they appear as gross or yucky. Gross, villainous, kind of 7 of Wands. Wow. And there it is, the mask. Okay, well, we have it. I see it. It's somebody who, just as I was saying before, not very, not wanting to experience the discomfort of, us knowing the truth or you knowing the truth of why they don't want to this, that, or the other, or why they're acting the way they are, not wanting you to know. And the reasoning for it, rather than it being like what that thing is almost, we're approaching it a little bit, just gently. It's something to do with, it's the 5 of Swords is like a regretful energy, that they would regret for you to have to see them this way as such a villain. They don't want you to see them as a villain. This goes along with, so that's like extreme, right? But like if it's about the past spread, about somebody just kind of being uncomfortable with saying no. But to them, that discomfort, we don't know what that experience is like. Some people are really uncomfortable saying no. And when they say no, they feel like a villain. And they don't want you to see them that way, because I feel like there's something nice between the two of you. Although it does seem it seems a bit like, I just had that feeling in the 2 of Cups that like that person with the horns was eventually going to feel tied down. And that would be, I don't know. Anyway, so the 7 of Wands is basically it. So they put on basically defense. It's like a mask. There's this neat couch here. It's really interesting. somebody just offered to donate a couch just like this to the church. So I'm going to look at this and be like, okay, this message is for me too. There's a mask here, and instead of wearing the theater mask, they're wearing actually like a bird head. Like, this is very symbolic. So you can look up the symbolism of this kind of act of wearing this bird head, but I won't get into it because that's very specific. So if it resonates for you, just go ahead and take a look and you know, starling. I almost see another face here. Yeah, see, there's another face here. Like, it's just kind of somebody not only wears a mask, they actually took their face off. I don't know. I'm going to make the camera blurry again, but there's another face like right here. And interesting that it's like this mirror, just like in that card, the Three of Pentacles, like that kind of imitating. And so like the mask is imitating the face. This is a whole other thing. This isn't just somebody who is like giving a little bit of a deception or whatever. This is somebody who is maybe inventing a whole new story. So what it might be is that, like, the further this goes into denial, the further it goes into masking, or it's not just masking anymore. It's like totally giving off a different appearance and actually transforming into that different appearance, which is really ironic, really, when you think about what was over here was the creatrix, like the magician. There's a question here that just popped into my head. Well, isn't that what you wanted? You wanted to manifest them as somebody different than they were. Wow, I feel kind of like, whoa. I feel a bit like strange. I'm just going to cover up these tentacles because I don't want to look at them. See, just like that. I don't want to look at those tentacles. I don't want to see that. I want to just see all the things that I like to see. The fates. Ooh. Look at this, the mirror, right? And that kind of, okay, so the fates, this is 10, this is the Wheel of Fortune, but it's presented as in the middle. I see it. It's like one of those times when you peel an apple core and you peel it the whole way without, have you ever used one of those like spinning peelers when you're making applesauce or something? It's like that, or somebody knows how to do that skillfully. So that might resonate with somebody, that this might be somebody in your life. They have that special talent where they can peel an apple core without ever stopping, and it just becomes this curly thing. It's this energies of threes here, okay? And it's like, you know what, like, this is really like worst case scenario. How far down the road does this pattern go? Where does it stop? Well, eventually, Wheel of Fortune, eventually, what we end up with is a bunch of chopped up people hanging out with one another. And basically people who have distorted their sense of self so much, and people who have distorted their sense of other people so much, that like we're looking at something that looks less and less like a person and more like a distorted sense of reality. So, and then the weird thing is that this is mirrored in some way. So this is like kind of like imitated, that we got this idea from somewhere, and this is on both sides. So I feel like both sides are feeling like they need to do this. They need to kind of like distort each other. Where did we get that idea? That's what I want to know. Right here. Queen of Wands. Look at that with the mask. The first thing I saw here was like an opera. If you ever been to an opera and you see, there's always this moment in an opera where well, I'll just put that, I don't want to get into terms and stuff. The main this is just in the history of things. There's like a feminine and masculine divide, and operas are kind of all that way. It's about this kind of polarizing energy. That's kind of the nature of an opera, is to poles that are drawn apart and connecting back together again. And this would be the moment of furthest separation. And this would be the feminine side. And they have this kind of like dreamy solo. Let's call it a solo. And they sing something and they're on their own. And it's like the expose of this particular person. If I was to put this in something other than an opera, so that I don't get into all these terms that I can't imagine a lot of people would know, only because, like, I'm just assuming that because I barely know them myself. So maybe you do know the terms. Maybe you are very educated on the opera front. Let's put it into something a bit more accessible. This is because we've seen it in a really good movie. This is like, you can't see. In a really good opera, there's a visual appeal to the whole thing that draws you into the characters, so that you don't notice the curtains on either side. You don't notice that they're on a stage. You get lost. People get lost in opera. This is like getting lost in a really good movie. And so this is like, I'm seeing this as a movie that we've kind of been taught in movies that we're supposed to distort people out of shape. Now, we could get kind of literal with this one. Distort other people and distort ourselves out of shape. That could get very literal, very physical. I think also it's a little bit of like, we're taught that there is one ideal to go after. And so that might be for ourselves, and then also that might be for one ideal, one person to idolize. What does she see? And this really is the story of an opera. I'm imagining an opera called Idomeneo. Yeah. Okay, there we go. That might resonate with somebody, Idomeneo. Wow. Two of Cups. Idealizing. Being... So this is like, okay, this is submission. Idealizing submission in like a relationship or with another person. Submitting to their roots. Submitting to who they are. And submitting as the ideal or as the idolized, or that only when they're this ideal form will they be invited to submit or something, and it's like all they want or something like that. Oh goodness, something like that. There's more, there's so many more stories that just kind of going with what pops in right away. Okay, Five of Pentacles, really to kind of tie that all together. It's somebody who's aspiring for this. There's somebody who's striving for this, isn't there yet. Again, this is very like movies. Like, this looks like an old, kind of one of the first color movies or something, when the colors are added in after the fact. It's called Technicolor. A feeling of lack. This is really starting to get kind of like into that traditional message of like, be who you are, be yourself, all that stuff, Somebody has to love you for who you are. In order for somebody to love you for who you are, you have to be yourself, right? That's just kind of like one of those posters or something where there'd be like there would be like a like one of those photos of a mountain or something, and then like a sunset right behind it, and then in order for someone to love you for who you are, you have to be yourself. And it kind of feels like, I feel cheesy about it, like it's just like, oh yeah, of course, Queen of Pentacles. One day I will be there in that place. This is just that typical, I'm going to be like that girl in the Notebook or whatever other movie. That's probably an old reference. There's probably a better movie to refer to now. Oh, Titanic. There's one for the collective because we watched Titanic together not too long ago. So, Queen of Pentacles is right here. Queen of Pentacles meets a Seven of Wands. Because really, can we be this idealized movie character? Well, obviously not. Obviously not. Obviously, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors that goes into putting on that show. And, unless we're professionals in theater or opera production, we're probably not going to be able to, or movie production, we're probably not going to be able to pull off that perfection. So it leaves us constantly feeling like we're lacking because we're striving for something that basically takes like, I don't know, how many people are at the end credits of a movie? How long does it take to make that character that we see in a movie? And how many people have to back that character? Even if we tried to get that many people behind our image, you end up with someone like Lady Gaga or, and beautiful, kind of celebrity image, right? Who else do you end up with? I don't even, nobody else is coming up in my mind right now, but it's any kind of like idealized. I didn't mean to single out Lady Gaga like that. I kind of more wanted to give a few examples of celebrities or people we look up to. I want to I was stalling because it kind of it was like, what about, it's not always just movies. It's like, there's this fame in everything. The fame is in Warren Buffett, there's an example. Like a famous investor. Or, Elon Musk, there's another one. A famous innovator. Jeff Bezos. I can't stop hearing the Jeff Bezos song. If you've not seen it yet and heard it. In space. Okay, well, so that's just to give some examples. I don't mean to single out Lady Gaga as if it's just like a thing that's on TV or like that's on our screens. And I mean, yeah, it is a thing that's just on our screen. It's a thing that's advertised to us. And it's infiltrating into all parts of our life. Best we can do is work really, really hard to become a Queen of Pentacles, like to get our, we can work really, really hard on ourselves. This is Queen of Pentacles who works for themselves and nurtures themselves. And we can just get really, really good. And basically the image of these two doesn't line up, does it? Queen of Pentacles actually still has to deal with like the obscurity of the world. Like it's not as clear. It's not as like cutting, or it's not as, what would we say, like hypnotizing. And so we could maybe feel a little bit like we could never possibly be that person, that ideal. The more I look at this reading, the more I'm starting to get worried about the energy, just only because this idealizing, idealizing a better self, quote unquote, I'm going to be my best self. You're always your best self, okay? Take a load off. You are your best all the time. And actually, if you want to think about manifesting, right? You have to believe that you are your best in order to achieve your best. So anybody who's like, work on becoming your best self, like that's just bull crap. I'm so sorry, but I just can't stand it. You are your best and you are wonderful and you have it in you and it's always there. And you might not feel it sometimes, but that's because people are putting unrealistic expectations on you it's not even like it's something you couldn't possibly achieve. It's that this is unrealistic. It's unrealistic for you to back yourself with a crew of like 400 people to work on your image so that it's absolutely perfect in the eyes of everyone who looks at you. That's an unrealistic expectation that people might have. There might be someone in your life who expects you to be what they see on TV. And to that, give them the old, all right? Because you are your best self all the time. That's the message that I have for you in this reading. Beyond that, I worry because this energy of covering up, of masking, of totally transforming self, this is somebody who's on their way to trying to be this, who thinks that they're not good enough. And so they're like actually maybe literally like transforming the way they look to look more like what they think is ideal. When they meet somebody who just nurtures themselves as they are, I wonder who's telling this Queen of Pentacles that they need to be better than they are. That's what I want to know. Is it just TV? And why is it that there's this distorted image of self here on that energy? Why eventually is it just going to turn into a bunch of apple peels? Eight of Cups. Knight of Cups, sorry. Look at this image. This is of Knight of Cups. Wow. Interesting. My knight in shining armor. I'm hearing like those like, save me, knight. But isn't it interesting in the Knight of Cups, it's actually, there's, it's almost like a communion. Very much, almost like a communion, like, see what this person wants. Okay, listen, I'm not going to say this person, this group of people. When I said group before, it's like, it can be society at large, right? It could be at large. Doesn't that mean like they're wanted for something? Society as a whole or something, or the media or whatever it is, right? That's how this could be a group of people. And let's talk about it as the media, because I don't want to say that this is what somebody you're thinking about right now wants. I can't put that on them. We're going to do that whole last part of the reading in a minute, but this is maybe the last message here. Well, I think there's another one right here. That it's like what their ideal, they want to be like resuscitating you with their fulfillment, like just be the ideal. Like this person's saying, just be the ideal that I want to see, and don't worry, I've got you. So just as soon as you're that, then I'm going to give you my fulfillment. And it's somebody who's like not satisfied until you become this impossible ideal. And I really, this energy here, ooh, that's troubling. That's just like advertising, obviously. The whole point is to keep you in this position where you're not good enough. And so then you buy more things in order to, it's just classic, messages that we've known this stuff for a really long time. But actually, interestingly enough, that there was that woman who in the 1970s, her name is just slipping my mind right now. Anyway, she made that whole researcher, and she researched advertising, and she kind of concluded without a doubt that advertising targets women and girls and sexualizes them and makes them feel not good in their bodies. And anyway, you would think, okay, that's from the 70s. It's so that's so a long time ago. We're well past that. She actually recently toured again with the same message. It's gotten worse. And it's even though we're well aware of it, it's actually getting worse and worse. One of the things that just came out not too long ago is that Instagram targets young girls with advertising. So all this stuff that's happening. I shouldn't speak out about Instagram and Facebook, but who's going to see this? Anyway, it came out that they're targeting young girls with imagery that actively promotes disordered eating and stuff like that. So it's really unfortunate that we still have that, even though it was already made very obvious in the 1970s. And we're still to this day, it's getting worse, actually. We're kind of ignoring it. And it's almost where does this denial come from? It comes because there's this mask, and then there's this, I just want to be happy. I don't want to, I feel like this isn't genuine, but I kind of just want to connect with the world out there. And I don't really want to be questioning everything all the time. Plus, who am I to say what their motives are? I don't know what their motives are. So I'm just going to put up this kind of wall. I'm not going to look. And that's this kind of denial that we've been in as a culture for so long that it almost seems normal that there would be this kind of expectation that we would have to be better than we are, that there is such a thing as better than we are, that even in the self-help and spiritual, I'd say enlightenment movements are even saying to you, to become your better self, the best version of yourself. That phrase, I'm really sorry for saying swear words, and I'm just going to intentionally say it swear word. That phrase is toxic as fuck. Okay? And I'm really glad this came out, this message, because it's a pattern. We keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. And it's getting bigger and smaller and bigger, and it's happening in all these different areas. You don't have to become the best version of yourself. You are the best version of yourself. And anybody who's selling that nonsense, yes, it's great to be motivated to do more than you thought you could ever do. But you always have it in you. So you're not becoming any kind of anything that you aren't already. Let's just say that. Oh, I'm irritated. Just, a lot of lovely souls lost to trying to meet that. And it kind of saddens me quite a bit. But it saddens me, to see somebody else that, but it is. There might be something in here that resonates with I think that the message can resonate with everybody, obviously just naturally, because it's something we all see. But I feel like this group who's going to see this reading is has a particular experience with being idolized, and then that process here of somebody saying, well, as soon as you're good enough, then, don't worry, you might almost die becoming good enough, but I'll resuscitate you. It's okay. This is and even that's in the spiritual movements I'm talking about. It's just keep becoming more and more enlightened and enlighten yourself. And even though you're just going to like totally burn out all your energy trying to do this thing, don't worry. There's somebody there at the other end who's going to feed you the most delicious wine. I just, no. That person who feeds you the most delicious wine is here all along. It's not wait until you've become. It's not like wait until you're basically, it's not wait until you're dead and someone resuscitates you. You don't have to. Those are metaphors that are taken wildly out of context, I think. I'm getting like really ranty. So there, I'm just going to get one more card because I do feel like there's one right up here, like in between these here. There's the Knight of Swords. It all happened so fast. It's kind of like this drive to surrender in love is powerful. It really does connect us on an earth level, which earth energy can also be seen as habitual energy, and that's why devil energy is kind of like earth energy. Interesting, this is Two of Cups, but this is speaking to the idea that friendships, relationships, they really do mess with our heads. Like literally, they mess with the chemicals in our heads in order to form bonds and attachments. That's the way we're wired. And so it can happen really fast. That at first we're just looking for connection. And then that turns into this like trying to imitate this ideal. That it becomes kind of like, is it normal to want to look like an apple peel? I don't think so, but I don't even know, like this self-doubting energy. So, I guess the idea is that when we're in an energy of lack, whether somebody's wanting us to be more than what we are, or whether we want that for ourselves because we've heard that from somewhere, wherever it comes from, like we've seen it and we're striving for, to be that, I don't know. Let's say doing a handstand at the top of a mountain or something with like 800 followers. Maybe that's what people want, right? But what does it take to get there? And are you being your genuine self? And I'm sure there are people who are being their genuine selves who are doing that. And I don't mean to say that's not the case, but that whole environment where that stuff is going on is without a doubt feeding people very harmful information. And like, I don't say information. We can all take a look at something and decide for ourselves whether or not it's for us, but it happens so fast. Look, I sound like a boomer lady. I'm a boomer lady here. Careful with your social media, kid. Like that's, but really, this is where the reading is going. It's like, really, it is kind of a parental reading. Like it's a parental control. Like, take a look at this. It happens fast. You don't normally know you're in it until you've gone all the way. And actually, the more further you go into it, the less likely you are to know that you're in it. Until you're scraping at the walls, wondering why you can't connect with the world outside. That's really big. And so, obviously, we can say this is maybe like one of those general kind of, what's that German word we learned for world pain? Schadenfreude. It's like that. It's a world pain. So let's read about the silver lining or something, like what's coming up for this, like, and then after that I'll kind of get into that secret that I said I was only gonna reveal to anybody who felt like it was appropriate to know. If it wasn't something. Oh, that's nice. 10 of Pentacles. I ask for a happy card and I get a happy card. So there, isn't it interesting? This light reminds me of this light right here. These cards are really a real trip, like Alice in Wonderland or something. And aren't these, this kind of looks like a field of poppies or something with both pentacles on top instead. Anyway, 10 of Pentacles, it's really about becoming. So it's really, I was saying, you're not becoming anything. You're just walking your path, and it's always inside of you. Rather than adding a mask, rather than, it could be more like inviting, like, I don't know if you can see this person in this card. They're like, it's like as if they're reaching down to invite other parts of themselves to come out. And so if there's anything about becoming, it's about reaching in to find things that have always been there. Reaching in to invite ourselves to the party when maybe we've said no because we're scared of going. Maybe we told a lie and said, I don't want to go. And then, because I've got some other commitment, and then, oh, now I can't say something else because I don't want them to know that I lied, and then getting in this cycle, that kind of energy. This could be something like, you know what, you've got it in you to invite yourself to the party in that moment if you want to. And so maybe that is the idea. That the original reading was like to not want to see, to have that feeling and to not want to see the bad things. But there's maybe something in there about having a feeling that they were not being honest, or there's more to it. It's a little bit dramatic, but not wanting to really know because it's like, I'm afraid, or them not wanting you to know because they're afraid of you seeing them for who they are, actually. There's like this kind of, well, maybe it's a place to go instead of ignoring the thing and looking elsewhere to form an idealized version of somebody. Maybe the idea is to admit Pentacles, practical. They can always invite themselves to the party if they actually want to come. And leave it to them. And let them be somebody who said no. Believe them. They said no. Do we have to respond to that intuition with... Is the only option for them to become somebody who was dishonest? Even if they were, so what? And I gotta tell you, I can imagine somebody who's afraid to say, hey, you know what? Or tell you why it is that they're afraid of saying no. Someone who's afraid to say no, they don't want you to see them that way. Inviting them in looks a lot like, okay, believing them. And like, I'm losing the message. It's inviting somebody to the party, inviting themselves to the party. It's like, as much as we might want to change that about somebody, that goes down a really harmful road eventually. That wanting to only see certain parts of someone is harmful. We actually have to embrace all of our experiences. That's what this card, I think, is really about, is embrace all the parts of things. That is a part of somebody. It might not be up to us to take the action, to, invite them by idealizing them. And maybe that's like a denial to try to make them feel more comfortable to invite themselves. But I feel like all that does is makes them more comfortable to invite certain parts of themselves. And so they would probably be more prone to inviting themselves more fully if they were just left to their own devices to do it, just like we do. I don't know if maybe anybody here is resonating with the other side as well. And you might be able to resonate with this idea that you really do just want to have the space. That when somebody's communicating, no, I can't go because, or I can't do this thing because, or they give some excuse or reason. Or maybe they even say, I just can't. I can't is being like they're restricted from doing it rather than them choosing, like, I don't want to. Or something like that. Something we all do sometimes, right? We've been there. Who invites the parts of you to the party in your experience? Who decides? The Queen of Swords. We talked about that earlier in this reading. Who decides? Let's not participate in that culture that wants to only invite certain parts and wants to slice people up into bits and take the parts that we like and throw away the parts that we don't like. Let's get into a different pattern. One that's sustainable, that's loyal, that's loyal to what we would want for ourselves, I guess, is the idea. One where we're deciding who we are rather than trying to decide who somebody else is. Something like that. I like that message a lot. Okay. So I'm going to back away from this and I'm going to back up the train and I'm going to do the whole secret thing. I said I was going to do it. Now I feel like I don't have to, because it's kind of like, we don't have to look into who that person is. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, they'll come to the party if they want to. Otherwise, back to myself I go. Back to my own focus of my own, inviting more of myself to that party. Or to a different party or whatever. Inviting more of myself to come out, regardless of what other people do. In response to like this real drive and push in our culture right now to mask ourselves and conceal ourselves and take certain parts and remorph our bodies, kind of thing. So it's like now more than ever, it's important to continue to decide who we are rather than trying to decide who others are. But I'm going to do that. I said I was going to do it. There's probably something there. So the idea here is, if you are in the group of people, I think there are going to be a few. I was feeling that right at the beginning, that there would be people here who would say, not up to me to look into somebody else's secret. If they're keeping it a secret, then that's their business and that's what they want. If that's your intuition in this moment, go ahead and click off, and I will say thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope you have a great rest of your week if you're in the middle of a week, or I hope you have a great rest of your day if you're just starting out, or I hope you have a great night. Maybe you're headed to a party soon. And then for the rest of you here, then I'll just kind of like just grab a little something for like, what is it that, this is going back to the beginning of the reading when I was saying something like somebody walks away and slams the door behind them and it's a big display and it feels like, obviously, it feels like they're just trying to like break a pattern. It feels like they're overreacting or they're kind of like putting on a show, but it's for a reason. Like, what are they trying to achieve when they do that? So this might be like parents who have teenagers, which if it is, then you know what it is. It's just kind of like they're teenagers. They're just trying to shake everything up all the time. But there might be more to it. Or this could be like more about, for those of you who resonated with this message, in a sense of not knowing why it is that somebody's being standoffish or, on the other side of things, it was a lot more calm. It's like not wanting to reveal, being afraid. And it's okay to be curious about what the why is for people. I think the whole reading, the purpose of it is like, it's okay to be curious, but to focus on that at the expense of focusing on who you are as a person, then that's where it gets a little bit, at the very least, problematic. So the secret revealed. The tea. There are some people who I know would appreciate the tea. Knight of Cups. Judgment. Ooh. The Chariot. This Knight of Cups, as soon as it came in the upright, I really did see this, the message of like, till death do us part, which is a phrase, right? Till death do us part, like as if we have a choice to forget somebody ever. Of course, it's till death do us part. Whenever we meet somebody, cross paths with somebody, it's always till death do us part. It's not specific to any one commitment. We'll always have a memory of somebody. Some people are more memorable than others. Okay, this is a very specific message. I'm going to draw one more message after this because I feel like this is a very specific one. Maybe for like one person who's going to watch this. Then it came out first, which makes sense, so that I draw another one for everybody who doesn't resonate. That this is somebody who wouldn't be able to explain to you why they have to do what they have to do. They're moving towards something that they're being guided by a higher power. Look at this with the left hand here. It's look at this. They've like, this is very morbid because this deck is kind of morbid, okay? But I see this as like somebody's pulling, it's like, it's really interesting because I've had this kind of neck pain, but because we don't see the front of this person, but I imagine this is somebody who's pulled their own heart out. Ugh, terrible imagery, but somebody who's pulled their own heart out, that their intuition belongs to higher guidance and higher power, higher guidance. It's like that they are following something on a level that they couldn't possibly communicate with words. That's the secret. This would be like following God, or, maybe they are getting messages in other ways, synchronicities and things. Somebody who they revere, or it's not revere. They connect with this on a level much that you don't have access to. This is time. This is beyond death. This is like the eternal. See, the bones down here are being left, and this is still here. Okay, so this is till death do us part, and this is and beyond. And this is happening in the and beyond side of things. So for a specific person, I think there is the secret that they're being guided to move in ways that they wouldn't be able to describe to you in words anyway. And that's why it doesn't feel right what they're saying. That's the first one. Second secret. I'm gonna have to shuffle these ones good. I really like shuffling tarot cards. It's so calming. I have a quick suggestion, actually, since I just talked about that, and this is maybe for the rest of people who are here to see the last message, is that if you are interested in learning how to do tarot, one of the things, I'll just put it there as a suggestion, how to read tarot cards, is I used to watch, well, I still do actually, like I find readers that I really like, and I pull cards at the same time as them, and I see what I get, and I see how those cards are related, what they get and what I got. It's a really cool exercise. Really helps me to learn or to like find the depth in the messages that are here. That's about it. Okay, this message here is oh wow. Okay, this one's cheeky. I'm really sorry. We're getting denied. Access denied for the rest of everybody who didn't resonate with the one before this one. And I know this might sound cheap or whatever, but you saw me draw the cards. This is what came out. No more cards were coming out. This is the message I see in here, is that we're asking about what it is their secret. Why do we feel like it's not right, what they're saying? What's the intuitive reason why it's not like they're kind of backing out of going somewhere, or they're overreacting and it doesn't feel like them. It just doesn't feel genuine. Why is that? What's the secret there? And the secret here is actually flipping it back onto us. Okay, that we could have all of the we could have all of the resources in the world to try to figure out, you know, or to try to understand. We could have all the resources in the world. We could be worth, this is for anybody who feels like it threatens their worth, that this person doesn't feel like they're worth the truth. We could have all the resources in the world, and we would still have to find the strength. This is really interesting. This is a snake, and it might be referring to anybody who's still here who might be like into Kundalini or it's kind of like, I know what this is saying, but it's almost like I'm wanting to back it with the imagery, but I have to just give it to you with the message. It's there with the imagery, but I have to like explain so many things. There's this key that this person is holding here. It's really important. Basically, it's like we could have all the resources in the world to figure out whatever it is we wanted to figure out, and unlocking what binds us actually is going to take all of our strength. So in a backhanded way, this is like, mind your own business. You've got work to do. Stop worrying about why somebody is the way they are, and focus on who you are. And I like, okay, of course, that's my message, right? Tarot lady in a church. There's always like, I always have some, you know, somebody might even say righteous message or something like that. Okay, but it really is like more like if I was to ask those people with the secret, even if they were comfortable telling you what it is, they would also, those people who are comfortable telling you what it is, aren't comfortable with the idea of you looking into their lot at the expense of holding up your strength to unlock yourself. So it's almost like an ethical thing. I know it's getting a lot of messages there, but with very few cards. But I'm seeing it in the relationship between the key and the snake and the shell. It's like being born. Since the day you were born, you were tasked with this challenge. You're silenced as well. In what ways are you silenced? Wondering why somebody else is silenced. It's always going to be at the expense of freeing your own voice. That's the idea there. Anyway, little Dirk is looking like he wants to come and visit. I can't believe it. This is the first reading. Colin had a slight visit. Oh, Dirk might be coming for a visit. He is he's moving the microphone. He is going to come for a visit. Well, there you go. So I think this is the first YouTube reading that Dirk has made an appearance on. So if anybody has not met Dirk before, they're both very camera shy. Have you ever known them to not? He's right here. There. Showing you his butt. Oh, there he is. This is Dirk, everybody. He's getting his procedure done next week, so we're going to be in little surgery mode. He's still so little. I can't believe, was Colin this little when he had his procedure? I'm gonna have to remember, because Colin is so much bigger now, but this guy is really, really little. Careful. I don't want the last frame of this video to be Dirk's butt. But he has this real thing. He keeps his tail up in the air like all the time. I don't mean to restrict your tail, my little man, but oh, isn't he the cutest? Well, isn't that lovely? So whenever that life gets you down and you're like a bit intimidated by the task that we've all been given, and it's like unlocking our voice and everything, and it's too big of a message, Dirk is here to remind us that we could always give a loved one a scratch. Pay some attention to a loved one in a way that's soothing and calming. And that can help ease the woes. And also try to keep their butt off of camera. It can be really funny. But do you have anything to say? Yeah, that's... Colin usually has a... which he just did. He's saying goodbye. He's just with other things right now. He's on a mission. Whatever it is he's doing, it's very important. I can see him. He's just kind of like, I can't believe Dirk is... Oh, it's almost like Colin's passing the torch. It looks like he's just observing. Anyway, I put too much human onto these cats, but I can't help it. They're too cute. They wear bow ties. See? Okay, I'm gonna go. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I stream on Twitch. When? Well, I don't know. Sometimes. Check out the tarot community on Twitch. It's a really great thing. Lots of really great readers, and it's in real time, which is nice. It's like live streaming. I know there's YouTube live streams too, but on Twitch there's generally always is a tarot streamer on that you can watch, so it's kind of cool. Take care. Comb your hair, or as Dirk would say, show your butt. Which I don't think you should. Dirk, I don't know if that's the advice we want to give everybody, is it? He's like, he wants the tarot cards. Maybe he wants to draw a card for you. What do you think? I mean, oh, he's just about to knock over another deck that I have up here. I'm going to keep the camera rolling for anybody who wants Dirk entertainment. Now I'm going to go. All right. Take care, and don't show your butt to, I don't know, show whatever you want. Oh, Colin's coming up too. I can't say stop. I can't stop this reading. Colin's here to... He's being a bit camera shy, but he kind of is regretting Dirk's Tale. Move this so it's out of the way. Do you have anything to say, Colin? There's Dirk, and here is... Colin is on the outskirts. He's right here. There he is. They're both saying hi. Two brothers from different mothers and fathers, but brothers nonetheless. I don't know how to stop this video. I don't think I can. Can I? Normally there's music at the end, so they're just gonna chill out. I can't stop it. It's too cute. Oh, tell me they're just gonna start grooming each other. Of course they are. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna play some music then. Hopefully I don't get like in trouble for YouTube music. Let's see what I can put on. Something that won't... Something nice. And now you get to watch the cats while I choose music. Here we go. This takes me back.